For example, Away,
Yes.
that particular song. I
Yes.
mean, the first time I heard Away, I'm like, my God! Because, I had the opportunity also to grow up with grandparents. So,
Oh, yes.
and the things you were saying is not easy to understand or to even explain in any other way. And that's a very important point in the country that we live in today, where if you do not speak with some sort of an accent, people seem to ascribe stupidity to you. Whereas, in my mind, I think that where you are able, ability to communicate effectively shows enlightenment, and most of those people, nobody understands what the heck they are talking about, because it isn't even a particular accent. What are you talking about? So how are we going to teach what you did? How are we going to make it cool? Start with making it cool, at least for younger people to think it's all right not only to understand my language but to speak it. And how important is that process?
It is very, it's very important, because I'm very proud. I started to appreciate Yoruba. I mean, if I were Igbo or Hausa or Delta, I would still, but it's so musical. I mean, Yoruba is everything fella is. The tones, the pentatonic scales, it's all Yoruba. And because, I mean, I could sing like some Erykah Badu, and she sounds Erykah Badu, but today I'm in Germany and say, what's that tribe? Yoruba. Yeah, it's Yoruba. It's, they want to know, because, it has this Orisha kind of thing, and it's the most popular West African language, Yoruba.
Yep.
So it's very important.
That whatever your language is.
Yes, it is an identity wherever you are.
For an artist, how important is that process of understanding? Because I think that language is one of those things that helps you find your own core as a human being.
Yes.
Where you are from, what you truly are about. For an artist in particular, or anybody who really wants to dig into themselves to find that gift which they've been given and hone that gift, to such a sublime level, how important is that?
I think the most important thing for an artist is the root. Your roots, where are you from? What's your background? I mean, not everybody speaks their language. Yoruba, not everybody understands Yoruba, even in Nigeria.
Right.
But where are you from? You can be in France. It's a big place where they have so much competition, but what makes you different is your accent. She is not from here, cool. Then she has an upper hand.
Right.
If you are French or like me, I go stay and get lost in France. I'm just going to be behind, Ask Femi, why didn't you stay in France?
Right.
So I think the most important thing is your root.
I need to say this particularly to the young people who are listening, because people argue, for example, that when you go to those countries to fit in, you have to be able to speak like them, otherwise you won't get anything done. Reason that works is that most people who want to fit in on that level are looking for menial jobs. You understand? When you are professional of a particular level and you are bringing something important to the table, that is an added advantage. I cannot tell you how many times I walked into meetings with some of the most powerful people in the world, and the first thing they say, "Oh, you're gorgeous, your accent, we love your accent." And I'm like, yes, I'm Nigerian from Yoruba land. That kind of thing. I emphasize it. That kind of thing, because I realize it's an advantage. Okay, so I mean that's it. But I want to focus on some of the songs now before I go to other aspects of those things. I mean, how did you come up with Jailer? You see, everybody's going through your question exactly. Don't worry, you gotta ask more questions. I mean, Jailer is so true on so many levels, and it's so wise. And look at you, this young sissy.
Well, Jailer was me and Cobams.
I know that.
Started with Cobams in the studio, and he brought this idea, Jailer. And when he brings a title like that, we need to sit down and start to talk about what a jailer is. Now, the song Jailer is about an oppressor, and it simply says, if you oppress me, you will be oppressed. So don't forget, in your high table or high chair, and forget that you will stay there forever. That's basically what it means. But we like to make it much wider. You can have jailers wherever, in your homes, on your street. Could be anything, you know. It could be. I don't like to, because people always ask me, oh, they want it to be very political. Yes, but I think jailers can be everywhere. I have my own jailer. And who is your jailer?
Right.
That's what the song's about.
Right. And for every jailer, anybody holding down anybody else in one form or the other, it could be your children. Just because the children are young and you haven't given them a voice. In the process, you are yourself. I mean, that's what I love about it. That you are yourself in prison. When you imprison others, you are yourself.
Yes, in prison.
In prison, it's amazing. Then there's Fire on the Mountain, which everybody loves. Then Fire on the Mountain. You know the best part about your songs? Because you see, I can't sing to save my life, so I found an album where I can get by. You know, because the quality of the music is so rich that when I'm going around with my voice, you know, nobody seems to mind. You know, so Fire on the Mountain. Tell us about that one.
Fire on the Mountain was also written in the studio. We had finished recording that day, and I mean, we're just lazing around the studio, and Cobhams again.
Genius.
The idea, yes, it's wonderful. Cobhams is interesting because we were working in the studio with A-class French musicians, and you know what? They were all sitting to get instructions, to take instructions from Cobhams. He was saying, Laurent, that was the #1 bassist in France. Can you play this? And everybody was so respectful. Cobhams is lovable, and everywhere in Europe they're asking who did this job. There's no interview without Cobhams coming up.
Right. In fact, today's interview we tried to get Cobhams on because I mean you sent me a copy of the international one, and you know everything has his handprints on it. I remember when I interviewed him the first time I interviewed him, I of course proposed to him. I don't know why he's not marrying me. I mean that's why I'm not married. It's true. Those are the kind of men I want to marry. They will not marry me. Okay, so Fire on the Mountain also came from that.
And Fire on the Mountain is about things that are happening. I talked about the soldier man going to war. Does he ask himself whose war he's fighting? And okay, fine. If he doesn't even bother to ask himself, when they come back, what provision do we have for them? Because some of them come out being mad or being a menace to society. I also talked about the girl-child abuse. I mean, in Nigeria, out of 10 houses, you have 5 that their uncles or their fathers taught the girl. I have sat down with girls and we shared experiences. Nobody talks about this. It's forbidden. So this is the fire, I mean, amongst many other fires. What about the diamond blood? And someone in America buys the bling bling. So you say you have a lover and you love her like no other. So you buy her a diamond that someone has died on. Don't you think there's something wrong with that?
You know what you did with that song? When I look at my own and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? Sell it? Throw it away? You know, find out the ones that are not. You know what I mean? I know the ones that are supposed to be. But you know, the fact is that things like that are supposed to, you know, pinch at you. So you ask yourself deeper questions.
It's not to blame, actually. It's not to blame. It's just to create an awareness that we should think.
We should do.
I mean, if people are dying, I'm not blaming anybody. Like, for me, we have problems in Europe for visa. And look, it's good to go to Europe, but they always remind you that you're African or you're Nigerian, and with anything that has to do with Nigeria has a special law. Like, we want to go to Switzerland, they say, sorry, you have to go back to Nigeria, and we have to cancel some of it. I said, why do I have to go back to? I am African. You guys need us. You know, we need you and you need us, but why do you treat us like second hand? You know, and I said, who do I blame? I have to blame the people at home. I don't blame the people who run to Switzerland to become menace. I blame the government. I blame the leaders.
I blame us.
No, apart from us, first of all, wait, why should I go to Europe and become a menace? Why am I running away from home?